My mother is Sri Lankan Canadian. She was born in Sri Lanka and came to Canada in her teens. And I was raised in rural Prince Edward Island, which, as you can imagine, in the 1980s and the early 90s, highlighting the fact that you came from an immigrant family was a great way to get picked on. But then I moved to Toronto, which is basically the place in the world that you will find the most Sri Lankans outside of Sri Lanka. And I really started to feel hungry for that part of my youth, that part of my heritage that I didn't know enough about. There are still basically no Sri Lankan Canadians that are seen in the media. So when Luke and I started writing Receiver, I made the suggestion pretty early on that our main character would be Sri Lankan Canadian. I knew that we needed to find a way to have this shoot be representative as well. One of the first steps was that I started working with Sedna Fiati, one of my two co-producers on Receiver, who is a tremendous advocate for social justice and representation within the arts.
I'm all about people of color and LGBTQ, etc. I'm queer. My name is Sadhana. I stand out. I have a personal dedication to working with folks from marginalized groups. So that was something that I expressed to Kevin, that as much as possible, we should work with as many, people of color as we could. And he was on board for that. And I think we were really able to achieve that.
We had greater than gender parity on the production crew. So there were more women than men who were making this film with us. And 5 different people in key roles, all from Asian backgrounds. So that to me was tremendously exciting because I was trying to make a film from the very beginning that would be an opportunity for me to explore my own Asian background. And that was the way we tried to staff a lot of the film.
To be honest, we are in such tumultuous times, and everyone is talking about, anti-Black racism and racism within the film industry and what we all can do. And one of the things you can and should do is just from the get-go of a project, dedicate yourself to hiring as many people from marginalized groups as possible. The work will be just as good, and in fact, they will add more to your project than you could ever imagine. So I think that's something that's surprising and wonderful about working on Receiver.